I guess let's start off with this. You guys have a favorite place in Canada?
Yeah.
Where is that? Yeah, Whistler. I like Whistler. So, with these favorite places that you have, what makes them so special? What do you like about them the most? Nice climate. Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, me too.
Ice hotel.
Okay, cool. I've been there. Beaches, for sure. So like Chris was saying, I've traveled all over the world. A big thing that I like to do is I love surfing, and skateboarding, and snowboarding, and playing sports, and doing all these things. So areas like Whistler, I absolutely love because there's all these amazing things to do. And so what I thought was so cool is why not create a place that has all the favorite elements of what you like in life, so when you're living there, you don't even need to go on vacation because everything is in that area. So that's what we've been trying to do. And in addition to that, we're trying to address the concept of sustainability. So how do we get people to drive around less? How do we get people to get to know their neighbors more? How do we get people to respect their environment? So that's what we've been up to with our project at Altitude Forest, is we're designing a place where everyone can kind of share, and enjoy, and do all the things that they like to do. There we go. Yeah? How do I know it's going to turn out right? Well, I'm a pretty conservative guy, so it's usually a calculated risk. So it's a risk that there's an option of it failing, and there's a better option of it going the way I envisioned it to. So it's like anything. Like if someone were to build a highway through town, there's a risk that someone could get hit by a car, but there's the benefits that those cars are going to be able to move back and forth. And so that's your calculated risk. And I feel I don't move forward on any decision unless I feel confident that it's going to go in the way I think it should go.
What big risks are you taking?
Well, the last group I answered with I have kind of two different avenues of risk taking. There's in my personal life, I do all these sports, which are very dangerous, and there's risks involved with that. But then again, they're calculated risks because there's a better chance that I'm not going to get hurt, but there's still the chance that I could get hurt. With work, there's also calculated risks in the sense where we move forward on our development. There's a whole bunch of different people involved, and they'll say, yes, you're allowed to do that, or no, you're not allowed to do that. And we're trying to do things differently, so there's a good chance that they'll say no, but it's calculated in the sense that there's a better chance that they're going to say yes. So that would be another calculated risk that we would be taking on board.
How many risks did you take in your life?
Oh, I don't know, I lost track. Too many. But I don't even see them as risks, I just see them as, let's see what happens. If you start thinking about, the cause and effect later down in your life, you could get slowed down. I always think of it as if you're always living your life focusing on the moment and you're not getting confused of what's happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future, but really focusing all your energy on just that moment and do that all through your life, it should work out pretty good. Am I following a dream? I guess so. I think the dream is always changing. And as I'm maturing and aging, I always find new things that I'm passionate about, and I'm always following that path. So yeah, I guess you could say that.
What kind of risks do you take?
Risks would be, for an example, we've applied for a development permit on a specific use of land that'll have a specific number of houses. And we're going through and creating a sales program to sell those houses. But there's a chance that that development permit could get turned down, and so there wouldn't be the houses there to sell. It's potential. But it's a calculated risk, and most likely it's fine to go through. But that's an example of an everyday risk at work.
How are you going to create a community so everyone's happy?
You try to appeal to as many different needs that people have. So if you create a community that's very static and similar, it'll be kind of boring. But if you create a community that's very diverse and has lots of different interest groups, then it'll be a really interesting community. And you'll be appealing to different people's needs.
What if there's one person like this, but another person doesn't like that thing? What would you do then?
That can get pretty complicated, right? So right now, we're designing a park. We have the first hamlet where we have 18 homes. We have 15 homes branching around a central park, and in the middle of the park, I thought it'd be really cool to have a bonfire pit. So you can call your neighbor and say, hey, let's meet up and roast some hot dogs. But someone might say, oh, you guys are making too much noise. You never know what can happen, right? But I think the more approach you have that is these like-minded goals, that people will agree that it's a good idea and enjoy it.
Is there ever certain types of risks that you are more worried about than others?
Yeah, for sure. So in my life, I see financial risks as a really scary one. And other risks, so like for example, in my personal life, I'll risk my physical body to harm, but I won't put as much risk into financial decisions, which is kind of stupid, but yeah.
What is a good time to create like an event for the whole community?
Pardon me?
What is a good time to create an event for the whole community?
Well, right now we're establishing a community, but definitely I think any time is a great time to have an event.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about summertime in Victoria is they have the markets where they close the streets and everyone comes together and there's all shopping stands. And I see that as an event. I say the more events, the better. The more you get people outside of their houses and talking and sharing.
Would you have like soapbox racing and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'd like that. That would be pretty cool. Well, right now I want to build some mountain bike trails so we could have a mountain bike race. That would be cool.
Wait, is there a way that these students at some point, maybe with their parents, can come and see this community?
Yeah, definitely.
How does that work?
Well, you could come up on any of the site tours that we have, and you could see the progress that we've made in the first hamlet. But it'll be more interesting as time passes because you'll start to see the evolution of all these goals and aspirations that we've envisioned actually getting real and hitting the ground.
How would you get people on board to
Pardon me?
How would you get people on board with your business?
Like how would you try to get people to buy? And yeah, that's a great question. And that's what a lot of the sales and marketing people are doing. So we start off by doing surveys, trying to establish what's called a niche market, people that would want to live in that area. And based on that, you start to appeal to people that might be in that like-minded niche market, and then promote the product to them and see if they'd be interested and if they would want to buy there and live there. But it's like what I answered before, like the more broad range, the more open it is, the more people might be interested. On the property, or? Well, we have 60,000 square feet of commercial area, and that's for added value timber manufacturing. So in BC, a lot of the wood that gets cut down just gets exported as raw logs. So we want to attract different companies that are going to take that wood and add some value to it. So instead of us shipping off raw logs and then buying products back from the US or any other country at 2 or 3 or 10 times the cost, then we can do everything in Canada. So we have a company called McDonald Lawrence Timber Framers. They make these really neat big timber frames. We have a wooden toy manufacturing company that's interested. So we're always trying to find people that would like to do that.
So do you think that business is suitable for you?
For the project, yeah, because we have 85% of the land of the 1,000 acres that we have is forest. Well, 55% of it is going to be falling into an FSC certified timber lot where they do sustainable forestry, where they pull single stem selection logging operations, and then the wood from that will be used in products.
Can we just change it? Thanks for your question. I just want to shift it slightly because here's a guy who's found a great job. Everybody here at some point is going to have to get a great job. So what do you wonder about? He found a great job. Yes, what's your question? Ask it.
What kind of businesses would you, what do you get for this community for giving people money so they can afford to live in the community?
Like what kind of businesses are we going to create?
Yeah.
Well, within the community, there's mixed-use zoning, so people that live there can have the opportunity to run a small little business. But it's a bit remote, it's a bit more rural, so it's not like a center in town where you would open a business because there's not as many people up there.
So then you're sort of taking a risk to see if people are going to go buy their own company and rely on that.
Yeah, for sure. That's a risk involved, definitely.
Why did you decide to do the job?
Because I love urban design. I think I've been involved with sustainability for a long time, and I think that our world is crazy and getting crazier and crazier all the time. And if we don't change the way we behave and act, we're gonna need more than one world to support ourselves. So I view design as a way to change people's behaviors so that they have less of an ecological footprint on the planet. And I feel very proud to be involved doing so.
Where is this community exactly?
Do you know Shawnigan Lake?
Oh, sorry,
It's south of Shawnigan Lake. If you drive up to Malahat, there's the South Shawnigan Lake turnoff, and it's all in the hills. It's up on the mountains, overlooking Victoria. It's really a pretty area. And it's the only area in that area that hasn't been clear cut. It's a beautiful, beautiful forest. It's a nice area.
How did you know when you wanted this job?
How did I know when I wanted this job? Well, what happened is I was living in Europe studying sustainable design and planning. And in Europe, they have all these amazing, really cool things that they do. And I was just blown away. And I said, why can't Canada be more like this? And so I moved back to Canada to try to address that, to try to say, why don't we make our cities more cool, like the ones in Europe, or our parks more user-friendly, and trying to attract more people to those spaces. And I was chatting with a whole bunch of different companies and developers and planners, and I heard about this project, and I said, wow, this is a great opportunity to do something different, and that was cool. And so I took it. And it's very interesting. There's so much to learn in one job. Yeah?
Have you ever had like a bad job before this job?
Oh yeah, I've had so many bad jobs. My first job was at a recycling factory that I had to bike my bike for an hour or two, and I've probably had about 50 different jobs in my life. Me and this guy went to Australia right after high school, and I had a job at a chicken factory. That was no good. I've had really bad jobs. But, you know, whatever. This has been my most interesting, for sure. I like it a lot, too. My job that I was doing before this was flying around in helicopters up in the Arctic doing geology. That was pretty cool. But I find this the most rewarding and the most diverse. And for me, the most important thing with a job is that I'm always doing something different. And then I'm always learning. The second I stop learning, I get bored, and I don't want to do the job anymore because I've learned everything. So I think for you guys to try to think of a job that you're always going to be learning with is a great path to get started on.
What are the areas of the job? Have you done all biology and geological and
So I've walked around the site with geologists, and we did assessments on slope stability, and we looked for where the water was. We mapped out riparian areas, which are buffers around creeks so that you're not building in sensitive habitats and ecosystems. We've designed roads. We have to put in hydro lines. We are doing geothermal. We have to put in a sewage system. We have to put in water lines. We have to discover where's the water, how are we going to move it around all the different homes. So many different things. And then it's also designing the homes, designing the communities, where the homes are going to lay out. So it's cool like that.
So if you're building those things, wouldn't it cost millions of dollars and do you have that money?
I don't have that money. But how it works is that it does cost a lot, but then when you sell the home, you get that money back. And so you need to find someone with deep pockets full of money and say, hey, if you want to make some more money and do something that's good for the planet, you can invest in our project and we'll borrow your money, do the work, and then when we sell our product, we'll pay you back and you'll get some extra money.
So can the people come out and live in this area that like all this fun, where all this fun stuff is?
When it's done. So right now we're in the design stage and we're starting to build it. So in about 3 years' time it'll be all complete. And then it'll be ready. Yes, we'll have mountain biking trails. We have a whole bunch of agricultural areas with an area where there's horse stables. You can get on your horse and you can ride all over the trails. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really neat. And it connects with the Trans-Canada Trail, so you can ride all on your horse up and down Vancouver Island if you want to. Pardon?
Do they have like the boarding stable?
Yeah, there's an equestrian center, it's called.
Will some parts of your land be for like public that don't live there, public that do live there, like just for like everybody just comes to it?
Yeah, so that's a component. I would really like to see things open for everyone. I really like public amenities. And so we've dedicated a whole bunch of the property to the Cowichan Valley Regional District, and we've designed parks for them to use. And so there's sections within the different development all over the place that are for the public. And then it's a private community in the sense that they pay strata fees to have the roads maintained and all the rest of it. So it's a bit of both.
We have right here?
Okay, did you ever like get really excited about a risk, but it ended up it didn't work out?
Oh, did I get excited when the risk didn't work out?
No, like you got excited about one thing, but then when it happened, it didn't work out. Yeah.
You took a risk to do something and you were stoked on it?
And then the risk didn't go
fell
through.
apart.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Backfire.
I've had lots of times where I make a decision in life and I think, oh, this is going to be the best. This is the best thing for me. And then as I'm going down that path, I realize, oh, I'm bored of this, or I want to do something different. So, yes, but it's always evolving. I think the most important thing about risks is to be able to be happy if things go your way, but also be able to accept and move on and be happy almost if things go the other way. So then you don't really lose. There's no loss in a right or a wrong.
Just wait a minute, we're going to put a freeze on this thing. You know in the hockey broadcast they sometimes say, now it's time to choose to nominate your player of the game. So of all the ideas you've heard, could you put down one idea, or at least put a star beside it? Man, that is a ringer of an idea. I love that one. Or 2 stars and say, I would like to use it. Okay? 2 stars, you're going to use it. 1 thing, that's a cool idea, and we'll continue.
I know some places, like some communities, they have different houses, but they're all like, they have maybe 5 different types of houses. Is all your houses in your community going to be different, or are they going to be like each house set?
No, they're all different. Because I really don't like when you go into a community and every house is the same. It's kind of boring, you know. I think everyone should be able to express in a different way what they like and how they want to see things. So we've made decisions where we have a rule where you can't have the same house within 3 houses from each other. It's not allowed at all. You're not allowed to have 2 houses to create some diversity and differences.
So all the houses will be like all different?
The houses will be different. There's 5 model homes, and they're really nice houses. They're more like kind of cottage style with a steep roof, and then there's custom lots where people can build their own house with an architect, but there's design guidelines that they have to fit into. So they have to use natural materials, and it has to kind of have that nice, good quality natural look to the house.
We got a great question right here.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, what would you want to live as?
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't think I'd ever go to university or anything. I was so happy just to be skateboarding, and I thought I was going to be a professional snowboarder. And so I really pursued that. I thought that would be the coolest thing. I wanted to just snowboard and surf and travel all over the world. So I did that. I traveled all over the world surfing and snowboarding and skateboarding. But I really liked it, but I felt I needed more fulfillment in life. And as I traveled, I started realizing, like, why are these people living like this? Say in a really poor country, you know? I'm like, this isn't fair. Why? This isn't nice. How can I fix that? How can I do something to change that? Or I was in areas where people were so rich and wasting all their money, and there's all these people that are poor, and it didn't make any sense. So I thought it would be really interesting to see how to plan for, you know, a world that is a bit more balanced and there is a bit more kind of equitable use of resources.
Hate to say it, 2 more questions.
Okay.
Okay, choose them.
Who hasn't asked a question? Maybe you. Yeah.
How hard is it to gain a good job?
To gain a good job?
Yes.
I've never really had any problems, but I think the most important thing is whatever your job is, just do it even if you weren't even going to get paid. Imagine if someone said to you, you live in this country where everyone has all the money they need, but you need to do something with your time. What do you want to do? And so for me, I really like doing this. Even if I wasn't getting paid, I'd still be doing it because I just find it really interesting. And then I have all my hobbies and other things that I like to do. But I think if you have that attitude, and people who are going to be your employer, they'll say, this person loves their job, they're going to do an excellent job of it, and then you're just better than the person that's trying to do the job only for the money, if that makes any sense.
Second last, the last.
Okay.
I know this.
Okay, the 3 of you pick a number in my head. Whoever gets closest gets to ask the question.
7.
Oh, it was 7.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
How much would the house cost, around?
The house construction is,
So like when you actually buy the house?
so there's 2 things. There's the lot that you would buy, and then there's the house that you would buy. And because we have 5 different homes, we're trying to have a diverse range of housing costs. But I think the house and the lot, they start around $500,000, and it's all the amenities and kind of like a turnkey operation. It has geothermal. It's a nice, good quality home.
Does it have not big, little bathroom?
Yeah. But the thing that's really cool about this project is the whole project becomes your backyard, where you have access to thousands of acres of pristine, gorgeous forest that's never going to be chopped down or no one's going to ever move into.